This morning we made bagels, and this was actually a request from one of our viewers. Rachel had asked if we knew how to do bagels, and I've been making bagels for years, so I thought, sure, I'd be happy to do it. So Rachel, this video is for you. It's pretty easy to do. We're going to step you through it. If you're interested in this recipe, just watch and we'll bring you through it step by step. We love having a good breakfast on Sunday mornings. It's our special time where we just go all out and make some, nice eggs, pancakes, things like that. But one of the things we like to do is make bagels. And we've been doing it for quite some time. And one of the viewers asked for a bagel recipe, so we thought we'd show you how we make ours. And the really neat thing about this is it's just so inexpensive to make these. I mean, it just costs pennies. All it is flour. And then you have some yeast, a little salt, sugar, and oil, and that's it. There's not much to it. And it's really nice having fresh bagels right out of the oven. Cut them open, put some nice butter on it. Really good, really complements whatever you're gonna make for breakfast, or even if you just wanna have that for breakfast. Okay, we're gonna take a measuring cup and we're gonna put in 1 cup of water. Now the water needs to be between like 100 and 110 degrees. You don't want it too hot or it's going to kill the yeast. If it's not hot enough or warm enough, the yeast won't multiply and grow. So it really needs to be in that range. And the way I do it, you go to the faucet, and we have our set, I think, at 140. So I don't want it hot all the way, but you put your hand under it, and if you put your wrist under right here, it feels like it's burning. It's just a little too hot. So you get it until it's just warm. All right, put the cup of water, and we'll put in 2 tablespoons of yeast. And this is just the active dry yeast. Spin it around, or mix it around. And we'll let this sit for a few minutes before we add the salt, sugar, and oil. Just work it around till it's all dissolved. Okay, we let that rest for a couple of minutes. Now we're going to put the sugar in. 2 tablespoons of sugar. Now 2 teaspoons of salt. I'll just use the tablespoon for this, but 3 teaspoons equal 1 tablespoon, so I'll just fill it up 2/3. It doesn't have to be exact measurements. And the final step for the dough is 1 tablespoon of vegetable oil. Let's mix that up really good. I want to dissolve all the crystals of the salt and sugar. Now the water's ready, and we're going to put in 3 cups of flour. And I don't know if I mentioned at the beginning, I always prefer the bread flour for making the bagels and pizza dough and things like that. It works really well, and if you use the regular flour before and you try this, you should notice a difference in terms of how it comes out after it's cooked, and even as you knead the dough, it seems just to work better.
I was going to ask you about that, because I remember with the pizza dough you use the bread flour. Yeah, and then I was going to ask you about all-purpose, using all-purpose flour with this.
Yeah, all-purpose is good for baking, but for the bread products, I always prefer this, especially the pizza dough. It's my favorite. I'll start mixing that around. And what I do is I try and curl my hand once it gets done and try to simulate like a dough hook on one of those dough machines. If you've ever seen those dough machines, they're really great to have, and we've always been meaning to get one. But for some reason, I just enjoy doing it this way, so I never went out and made the purchase. My sister has, and she makes all kinds of bread products, and she is just fantastic with it, the things that she could produce. Okay, now You see how you have the loose stuff here? It's not forming a ball exactly like I want. So what I'm going to do is just go to the sink and just shoot a little more water in there. You see how I just put a little more in there? Mm-hmm. And then continue to mix. So when you're doing this, if it's a little dry there and it's not forming a bowl, just put a little water in. If it seems too loose, then just throw a little more flour in. You just want to get that balance right. And once this dough is made, I'll show you what the balance should look like. And I'm going in a circular motion, and with my hand curled, I'm twisting it and then moving it along. And you can see on the bottom how the dough is starting to pull. So it's starting to form into a very good consistency for the dough. And you see how it all dried up? And you have a clean bowl at the bottom. That's a good sign.
That's the way you want it to look?
Yeah. In fact, just how it is right now, that's exactly how you want it. So remember, if it's too dry, add a little water. If it's too watery, like the consistency I showed you before, just add a little more flour. But as you continue to work the dough, it's gonna thicken up a bit or firm up a bit. Okay, I'm ready to take it out now, because on the bottom, you see how it's just slightly sticking at the bottom? Mm-hmm. That's exactly how you want it. So this dough right now is ready to go on the counter, and we'll start kneading. The dough is at a stage now where we're going to start kneading it. And you see on the bottom again how it's just slightly pulling away? Mm-hmm. That's really good. So you want it like that. So we'll take our bread flour and we'll sprinkle it on a nice, clean, level surface. And we're going to start kneading the dough. So you scoop the dough out and you put it here. And sprinkle a little flour on top, like that. And now we start kneading it. And what I do is I fold it over, and then with the heel of my hand I push. And then pull it in and push. In fact, you could actually go out on the internet and look for the proper kneading techniques, because everyone does them a little different. This is how I've always done it, and it's always seemed to work for me. You just do the fold and then the push. And we're going to do this for 5 minutes, so it's a bit of a workout, but if you push with the heel of your hand with your shoulder down, it's not too bad, and you could do it for quite some time. Now, even if you had a dough machine, you can't skip this step. You still want to do this. Okay, we're about halfway through, and occasionally as you're kneading it, you might want to put a little more flour on the surface and sprinkle a little more on top as you're kneading the dough. You determine how to do that. If it's getting just a little too sticky, then go ahead and sprinkle very little flour on it and continue to knead. It's been 5 minutes that I've been kneading it, and now it's just a nice ball of dough. Take the flour, spread it on your work surface again, put the dough there, and sprinkle just a little flour on top. Rub it, and take a dry towel, put it over, and you're going to let it rise for 20 minutes. Okay, it's been about 20 minutes, and you see how it rose? It almost doubled in size.
Yeah, it's bigger.
Mm-hmm. And we're going to cut this now and divide it up evenly to make the bagels. This should make about 6 bagels, but we like kind of like extra large bagels. So for us today, I'm going to cut this in 4 pieces, divide it in 4s. But feel free to go ahead and cut it in as many pieces as you want, depending on how big you like your bagels. Before we do that though, I want to prepare the pan. Just get any regular baking pan and pour a little vegetable oil on it, maybe about that much, because we want to lightly grease it. We're going to put them on here to rest. So as we make the bagels, we're going to put them on here and we're going to let them rise again. Okay, now to make the bagels, we'll cut it right down the middle.
What's that called?
I don't know.
Oh, okay.
I don't know the technical name.
I like it.
Some of the viewers can help out.
Yeah.
It cuts stuff.
It cuts stuff. All right.
Now I usually use this like in the pizza kitchen or something like that. It's good to work with dough, and then at the end you could scrape everything up. See how it does that?
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Okay, now we take one of them and we're gonna roll it in like a tube and stretch out a bit. And I have a ruler there. For these bagels, you want to get it about 10 inches. So you see that's about 10 inches? Mm-hmm. So that's about just right. Pull it out. And then you just join it together, and then I do like a little fold. Mm-hmm. And then you just start going through and evening out all the sides. You don't want like a thick side there. Mm-hmm. And a thin side. So you want to kind of make it evenly all the way around. And you see how you have it like that?
Yeah, that's good.
Okay, and we'll put it right there. That's one. And that looks kind of nice. Mm-hmm. We'll do the same thing with the others. And again, if you were making 6, you would divide it evenly in 6 pieces and do the same thing. Okay, the bagels are done. And what we'll do at this point, cover it again with the towel. We're going to let it rise again or sit for another 20 minutes. But while we're doing this, I'm going to put on a pot of water and start letting that get ready to boil. So when this is done, we could start with the cooking process. Try and find a very large pot, because we're going to cook the bagels in here because we're going to boil them. And you don't want to crowd the bagels while they're in here, so you're going to do a couple or a few at a time. We're going to fill it with some cold water, and we're just going to fill it maybe a couple inches so the bagels can get submerged in there. Okay, you see how much water I had put in there? Not too much, just enough for the bagels to go in. And I put it on medium-low just to get it ready to boil. Because when we cook it, this is how we're going to cook the bagels. It's like a triple cooking method. The first thing we're going to do is we're going to broil them in the broiler, just a couple minutes on each side. Then we boil them. Then we take them out, put any desired toppings we want on it, and the final step is baking. So we broil, boil, and bake.
Wow.
The 3 B's. Now over here, again, they're resting on the pan that we're going to broil them in. And the only thing we're going to need at this point, we're going to prepare the pan again when we bake them with just a little more oil and some cornmeal. And then we didn't talk about toppings, because you really don't need any. You could have them plain. But some of the popular toppings are the salt, chopped onions, garlic, sesame seeds, and poppy seeds. I think poppy seed is my favorite. And then we'll do one where we're going to combine it, and that'll be the everything bagel. It's been another 20 minutes. And see how nice and big they got? Mm-hmm. We'll take this opportunity to even them out again. If there are any thick spots, go ahead and resize. And the pan is greased, so they should move fairly easy. They're not going to stick. I turn the broiler on, and I turn the pot of water on high. See how it's just starting to bubble up on the bottom?
Yeah.
Because we're going to want it to boil. And we're only going to broil for a couple of minutes, so by the time that's done, this should be about done.
Okay.
So we're going to take this and put it on the top. And be very careful at this step, because you don't want to burn them and you don't want to brown them. We're going to broil them for about 2 minutes on each side. Okay, they've been in about 2 minutes. You see we have a little hot spot in the oven, so you got to be careful. That's still okay, but you see how they are? Mm-hmm. These are perfect. So we'll take them out. We're going to gently flip them. Put them back in for another couple minutes. Okay, while the bagels are cooking, I want to take the opportunity to mix all this together for the everything bagel. So you just take a little of each one and pour it in. That'll be the topping for the everything bagel. Okay, it's been another 2 minutes. Put them up here. Now we're ready for boiling. And, well, while we're here, you take the rack out, put it in the bottom, and turn the oven down to 425. You shut the broiler off, and you put the oven on and set it to 425, because that's what we're going to bake it at. Okay, now we take the bagels and we put them in. Since these are so big, we're just going to do 2 at a time. You could do yours in batches. And we're going to cook them about 1.5 to 2 minutes per side. And this is the tool of preference. I've used tongs on these before, and sometimes with the tongs it just squishes them. You still want to be very careful with it. So the water's boiling now. We're going to turn, because it's on high, we're going to turn it down so it's a light boil. Now we just time them, and around the 2-minute mark we'll turn them over. Okay, I'm going to turn it over, so you just get under and flip it. See how easy that was? A lot easier than tongs. So it's flipped. Another 1.5 minutes, 2 minutes, and we'll take those out and put the next ones in. Okay, there's bagel 1 and bagel 2. I'll do the same thing with the others. Okay, here's our baking sheet that we're going to bake them in. So you put some oil on the pan. Again, we're going to lightly oil it. I'm going to take some cornmeal, just the regular cornmeal. I'm going to sprinkle it on there. You could be generous with it. Okay, now we take the bagel and we turn it over and put it on so the moist side is up.
Oh, the side that just was in for 2 minutes should be up?
Yeah, because this is the moist side, and now this is where we could sprinkle our toppings on. Before I do that, let's turn these over. Okay, so they're turned over and they're almost done. Now we'll make the first one an everything bagel. And we told you these are kind of on the big side, but that's how we like them. It's almost like a meal in itself. And you can refrigerate and freeze these. So I'd recommend, if you're making these, make a big batch, and then you have some fresh that morning, and you freeze the rest and you have them for the rest of the week.
Yeah, last week I had 2 days I had bagels. They were in little Ziploc bags, so it was good.
And you wanted salt and garlic?
Yes, salt and garlic.
All right, so we'll sprinkle yours with the salt, garlic.
So funny, because I would never order one, but you made it and I ate it and I was like, man, that's good.
That's a great thing about a bagel. You could put anything you want. You could actually then make pizza bagels. I mean, you could use that as a...
Yeah, because this would make a good sandwich or anything like that. It's
exactly
that thick. It would be a good sandwich.
Okay. Okay, how about sesame for this one? And the last one we'll make poppy. On the poppy.
Yeah, you like that.
This one will be mine.
Uh-huh. Yeah, these two are mine. I'm claiming them.
I got a little poppy on yours. Am I in trouble?
Yeah.
Now the oven's preheated, and we're remember we put the rack on the bottom, and we're gonna put it in at 425 for about 20 to 25 minutes. We're gonna go and check on it and see how they look.
Okay.
It's been 20 minutes, and it looks like they are done.
Nice.
Ears on that side, mine on this side. And we'll let them cool for a few minutes. What we're going to do is crystals first. Just slice through that. We'll let them cool off for a couple minutes. Put it on our plate. You can see it's still steaming quite a bit. Now we'll take some butter and spread that on. How much butter would you like?
That's good.
Okay, nice buttered bagel.
Excellent.
There you have it.
Bagels, Sunday morning bagels.